Hello, and welcome to the Dallas Songwriters Association Songwriter Spotlight. I'm Barbara McMillen, and tonight our spotlight is on Dallas Songwriters Songwriter of the Year for 2023, Wayne Gathright. Wayne is a talented musician and songwriter from Austin, Texas. Wayne played in college bands, um, a rock band called Stonewood, a swing band Canterbury, and a pop and country band called the Country Drifters, which became a very popular dance band and played venues throughout the South Texas. So he did that kind of before he went into the studio business. Wayne and his brother, Lynn, joined two Austinites to form the all original band Lucky Stripes, and they became pretty popular in Austin. The Stripes won the Best Band in Austin contest and was one of the only two bands from Texas asked to compete in the Nationals in Daytona Beach, Florida. For 10 years, Wayne owned Music Lane Recording, and it was a 3,000 square foot digital analog facility. Music Lane recorded hundreds of the top bands in Austin and was voted the top studio in Austin by the Austin Chronicle poll for 3 years. Wayne still performs at venues as a solo performer and as part of a duo with his brother. Um, he writes and records his own music and has his own private home studio, as evidenced by all the awards he has garnered. In 2023, he was winner of the Dallas Songwriters Association Songwriter of the Year. In 2019, winner of the Austin Songwriters Competition and Songwriter of the Year. In 2023, first place country category winner for the DSA Songwriter Competition. 2023, first place summer lyric contest for DSA. And 2023, second place grand prize winner for the Dallas International Songwriting Competition. He was busy that year. And in 2022, he was finalist for the 2022 USA Songwriting Competition. Publishers pick at 4 different Texas Music Symposium events. And he was the 14th first place song. He won 14 first place songs in country, pop, rock, inspirational, general, blues, folk, jazz, novelty, and lyrics. So you see, we are in for a real treat of an award-winning songs and of multiple genres. Thank you so much, Wayne, for being here with us tonight.
Thank you, Barb. Wow. Thank you for that introduction.
Well, I've been doing a lot of talking, so I think you should hit us up with a couple of songs. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd love to. I just want to thank you, though. It's been an honor for me to be a member of the Dallas Songwriters Association, and I've learned so much from listening to all the talented performers in the group. So thank you for that.
We love having you, Wayne, as part of our tribe.
So this song I wrote after I went to a class reunion, and it's called I Knew Her When She Wasn't All That. She was the one with pigtails and freckles, taking the taunts and hallway heckles. Nobody noticing at the school dance. She left that town at the first chance. I heard she had a tough time in L.A., but this time she didn't run away. The lessons learned carried her far. Next thing I knew, she was a movie star. I knew her when she didn't dance like that. I knew her when she didn't walk like that. I knew her when she didn't turn heads like that. I knew her when she wasn't all that. No, when she wasn't all that. It's funny how those pigtails now look so hot. Her goddess body is making all the jaws drop, moving with the music like a Hollywood queen. Who would have known she was a nerdy teen? Every hip bump in her shiny gold dress draws attention, but she couldn't care less. The girls are whispering that she's such a bee, but the guys are lined up to get her in a selfie. I knew her when she didn't dance like that. I knew her when she didn't walk like that. I knew her when she didn't turn heads like that. I knew her when she wasn't all that. When she wasn't all that. I was like her too, we weren't considered cool. That girl was my best friend. Funny how life can be, 'cause now she's here with me. I guess us losers can win every now and then. I knew her when she didn't dance like that. I knew her when she didn't walk like that. I knew her when she didn't turn heads like that. I knew her when she wasn't all that. 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 Thank you. I can see some hand clapping back there. So for something completely different, this is a more laid-back song about called. Thank you, crowd. It's called A Thought. Whoops, my capo's making a buzz. I had a thought that made me smile. I thought that thought a little while, till it became a new idea. I liked the way it made me feel. The idea soon became a plan. The journey to my dream began. I turned the plan into action. Then it got a little traction. I don't need to be a millionaire. I want a thought that others want to share. The action soon became a mission, my hope and my ambition. Before long it was embraced and made the world a better place. No, I don't need to be a millionaire. I want a thought that others want to share. A thought to make our dreams come true. A thought to help the needy through. Ideas to fix the things we broke. Ideas to change the words we spoke. Plans to build a better life. Plans to look up in the night. Actions to upset the cart. Actions to make our mark. A mission that we hold on to. A mission for me and you. From a thought. I had a thought that made me smile. I thought that thought a little while. What it would be, I didn't know. How one day I'd watch it grow. Watch it grow. No, I don't need to be a millionaire. I want a thought that others want to share. A thought to change the world for good. A thought to foster brotherhood. Ideas to bring an end to war. Ideas to take us to the stars. Plans to leave no one alone. Plans to make our wishes known. Actions to release our fears. Actions to persevere, a mission to plant new seeds, a mission to help those in need of a thought. Just a thought. Thank you.
Oh, right. Well, you know what? That's a really sweet song. Your first song, "She's Not All That." You were talking about going back to a reunion, and so let's just talk about those days. I don't know. I don't know you very well because you live in Austin, and so I'm not somewhere where I can chat you up in a party or whatever. So I'm going to ask you some personal questions, that have nothing to do with well, everything will have to do with your songwriting. But
Sure.
so what high school did you go to?
I went to the Victoria High School at the time, the home of the Fighting Stingarees.
So is that in Austin?
No, that's in Victoria, Texas.
Victoria. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
where I was born and raised.
you were raised in Victoria.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's further down in the coast. So
Mhm.
did you spend a lot of time fishing in the Gulf?
I didn't at that time, but when I had a kid, he was fishing crazy, even as a small kid, and I started loving fishing too. So we still go down to Port O'Connor and Victoria and Corpus and go fishing a lot down there.
Yeah, yeah. So so then I noticed that some of your bands that you were in, some of them you started when you were in high school in Victoria. Was that it? When did you
Yeah.
start playing?
I started playing when I was like 10 years old. Like, I can't believe that my parents let me do that, but we were just playing some songs as a trio. But when I got older, my parents gave me guitar lessons, and so I took guitar lessons at a music store there in Victoria, and I absolutely hated it. I I begged them to quit after a month. And the funny thing about that is I taught myself to play lead guitar. I didn't write or sing back then. And a couple of years later, I went back to that same music store and I became the guitar teacher for that store.
That's wild.
After, but and it was pretty cool too because the owner was blind. His name was Lou Parsley, and he happened to be good friends with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Cool. That's that area. That's
Come and
down.
bring excellence.
Yeah, that's from down in that area. So how long did you teach there?
I taught there for about 2 years, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and then we started going on the road a lot with the band that I joined.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got a lot of experience playing with bands and lots of different genres, and you can tell that experience has crossed over into your songwriting because your songwriting is all through all genres, which I love all genres. So, did you go to college or not?
Yeah, I did. I went 2 years at the University of Houston branch in Victoria, Texas, and I took a few basic courses, but mainly I took piano and music theory and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, I love the thing this you have in a number of your songs that I've heard. You talk about a lot of things in your past or growing up or what happened. I think you've got maybe a 4th of July or a summer song where you talk about growing up as a boy and so I guess you were probably pretty close to your brother. How far apart are y'all in age?
We're actually one day less than a year. So my
Wow.
birthday is on February 17th, and then his is a year later on February 18th.
So that's a good buddy. Unless,
Yeah.
thank goodness you didn't kill each other like normal brothers do.
Close, close.
Well, do you have a couple of more songs for me?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, you're right. A lot of these songs have to do kind of like with growing up on a farm and everything. And I'll play a few more later. This is one about being a little older and raising your family and then moving away and then coming back to the home that you raised your family in and seeing a new family there and all the emotions that come rushing back and all the hoping that the new family is going to have as good of a time as you did in that house. It's called Take This House and Make It Home. And it used to be called Take This House before Barb suggested that I call it Make It Home. So now it's Make It Home. I don't know why, but I took the long way down the gravel road that leads to my old home. The barbed wire fence is falling down, and the pasture is way overgrown. In the yard, there is a for sale sign. Contract pending hangs below. The new family has a Camry, and it's sitting in the driveway where my Ford pickup used to go. So build your memories. This is your time. God knows, truth be told, made the most of mine. Fill this place with memories of your own. Take this house, make it home. Make it home. Past the swing set in the backyard, that's where Shadow, my old dog, was laid to rest. On the old oak tree, a carving says forever, where my young bride posed in her wedding dress. So build your memories. This is your time. God knows, truth be told, made the most of mine. Fill this place with memories of your own. Take this house, make it home. Make it home. So, mister, make the most of your new place. Cherish each and every passing day. Someday you'll look back at the times that you had, like the ones I'm thinking of today. So build your memories. This is your time. God knows, truth be told, made the most of mine. Fill this place with memories of your own. Take this house, make it home. Make it home. Make it home. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. That that song kind of reminds me a little bit on the level of the House That Built Me, the one that song that won a Grammy, that Tom Douglas
Miranda?
and
Was that
yeah,
Miranda?
Miranda Lambert, but
Yeah.
Tom Douglas wrote it, and oh, who was his writing partner? I can't think of. Alan Shamblin, I think, was a partner in that song. But I do really like that song a lot. So,
Thank you.
who are your influences, by the way? I know that you like Simon and Garfunkel, and um, who else?
Well, my early days as a rock guitar player, influenced by Aerosmith and ZZ Top, of course, and the rock bands of the time. And then later, I started getting into more of the softer stuff. I loved Fleetwood Mac and Elton John and Harry Chapin, and like you said, Paul Simon. So just a really broad range of influences.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's good. So, uh, when did you start songwriting? I know you were playing in a band for a long time and then played guitar, but you didn't sing maybe for a while as far as the front man. Was your brother a singer at back then or?
He sang harmony.
Uh-huh.
The bass player was the main singer, and he wrote all the songs. I didn't write or sing back then. They would not let me sing. so, um, so I started singing and writing at the same time, and that was 10 years ago.
Well, you've developed your good voice, good sound, and I
Working
love your
on it.
songwriting.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
so give us another song.
Okay. In those 10 years, I've written and recorded almost 200 songs, so I just love songwriting. This song was a poem for a while, and I didn't even think about it being a song. And then one day I came up with the melody and chords, and I thought, oh man, it has to go with that poem. And so it's called The Moment's Lost. I lost a moment yesterday while shopping at the store, and when I searched to get it back, I lost a little more. I saw them flying in the wind and reached up in the air, yet when I looked inside my hand, there were no moments there. The moments lost are like clouds in the sky. You enjoy them when they're there, then they float on by. I thought I saw them in a stream as I stood on the shore. I tried to catch them, but I lost the ones I had before. They floated down the winding creek and soon were out of sight. I realized what I lost and I began to cry. The moments lost are like water in your hand. They will slip away even if you hold as tight as you can. If you miss them when they happen, they will never come again. You can't hold or possess them once they're already spent. The moments lost are like air that you breathe. You take it in and hold it, then it has to be released. I sat and pondered what to do as time marched through the day, and while I sat there deep in thought, a lot more slipped away. And while I pondered what went wrong, they swept back like a breeze, for all the moments that I lost had changed to memories.
When you played that in the DSA meeting this past year, it touched us all. It's a very
Well,
touching song, and this is a good time for us to talk about your writing process. Um, I know that you said that you started out with a poem this time. Um, how often do you do that, or do you get a hook or a melody in mind, or what happens?
it's with me. It varies a whole lot. It's not real often that a poem becomes a song. I had a poem book that I wrote. I did, it's not published, but I you know had it for myself with about 30 or 40 songs. At the most, I've done about 3 or 4 songs from there. Uh, the rest of them come from just noodling on the guitar, and and once I find a chord progression, I'll write it down and just set it down and come back to it later. Sometimes I'll just get an idea in my head. I'll give an example. I have a song called "Life's a Peach," and I was riding down the street in Austin, and there was a peach stand, and they have all the signs that lead up to the stand. It's like fresh peaches, peaches ahead, and one sign said "Life's a Peach," and I thought, oh my gosh, how is life like a peach? And the wheels just start turning, and so I wrote a song called "Life's a Peach."
Are you going to sing that for us today?
No, sorry.
No.
I don't have that one prepared. And some, I think, and you know this probably better than I do. As a songwriter, you got to always you always got to think like a songwriter. If you're driving down the road, everything you see and everything you hear on the radio, that it's a possible song. I mean, I imagine you're the same way, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the hook. I get the hook ideas. And and I think, oh, this is such a great hook idea, I'll never forget it. But if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. So I've got a hook list, and that's mostly where I come from. But occasionally it's different. Sometimes the melody comes first, um, but most of the time the hook and the idea comes first for me. But I do have a song that I wrote I wrote a prayer and then it became a song.
Wow.
So the
Uh,
prayer piece for Israel that I have that song. And
wow.
so
Have you
yeah,
ever kind of
I
like
take it
dreamed a
whenever they
song?
come.
Yeah, however they.
Yeah.
You ever kind of like dreamed a song and it all just kind of like flooded into your head at one
Yes.
time?
Yes, and that's a gift there. It's
Yeah,
just you don't have to struggle with that one, and I love that. Not I don't have very many of those,
me
but
neither.
yeah, I wish I had more of those.
Yeah, me too.
We got another good song for us. Of course, you've got a great
I'll
song.
try. Are we about halfway through?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'll do a song that is very recent. Um, we've played it one time for people last weekend. About a father kind of teaching his son about life, and it's called "You Don't Know What You Don't Know." I knew I was in big trouble. A big den in Dad's VW. To fix what I did wrong, I worked all summer long at the VFW. I held a grudge I didn't understand. He was teaching me to become a man. He said, boy, someday you'll forget math, physics and geometry, but you'll know when to take the easy path or face the rocky road. But for now, you don't know what you don't know. Again, I was in big trouble. All night I'd been slamming doubles. Called my dad from the county jail. He said, you stay in that cell, and tomorrow I might come get you. I held that grudge, I didn't understand. He was teaching me to be a man. He said, boy, someday you'll forget math, physics and geometry, but you'll know when to take the easy path or face the rocky road. But for now, you don't know what you don't know. But for now, you don't know what you don't know. When I found out what I didn't know, I had a little buckaroo of my own. I shared those words as he's grown. I tell him, boy, someday you'll forget math, physics and geometry, but you'll know when to take the easy path or face the rocky road. But for now, you don't know what you don't know. But for now, you don't know what you don't know. Ooh-hoo. You don't know.
Well, Wayne, do you miss playing in a band?
Actually, no. I'm having so much fun solo and getting to intermingle with other songwriters, like the players in the DSA. That's so much fun because I'm just absorbing everything from everybody, and I love learning new things.
So, when you were in a band, were you the band leader?
Uh, in the band that was called the Drifters that I had auditioned for, uh, I became the band leader because I could play several instruments, and so I would kind of pick the songs. Well, they went from a country band to a pop top 40 band, and so I would teach them a lot of the parts in the song, and they became really popular. We played dance halls, to thousands of people down in South Texas, and we were coming up to Austin during that time period, and we were seeing bands like Greasy Wheels and Balcones Fault and the Lotions and all those great bands that were very visual. So we kind of took that idea down to this dance hall band and started like doing visual things with the music, dressing up in outfits and stuff and making it just a show, and that really made it kind of a scene down there.
Yeah, more of a show band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I'm just wondering. So your brother was in these bands with you all this time, or not?
Yeah, he's been with me in just about every band. The Drifters band I joined by myself, was in there for a few years, and eventually got him to join the band. And then when we moved up to Austin, we were always together in bands, and we are now. Lynn and I just do open mics and a few gigs, like the
And,
gig we just played in Art, Texas.
oh, okay. So he plays guitar as well.
No, he plays drums only. So he plays a cajon, and I play the acoustic guitar, and
Mhm.
he sings harmony and a lead on about 3 songs, and then I sing most of the leads, and they're all original songs that I wrote.
That sounds like so much fun.
It is. Mhm.
Yeah. So, when did you move to Austin?
Um, it's you can tell from me having to think about it. I think it's been 30 years because I've
Mhm.
been in this house almost 30 years with my wife Frances.
And so that playing in a band in Austin a lot ended up, is that why you ended up in Austin? Because you were getting a lot of gigs in Austin, or
No,
no?
when we were making really good money with that band in South Texas, and then we
Mhm.
moved to Austin, and we immediately went broke. We
Yeah.
weren't making any money. We ended up. Uh, I ended up living in this meat locker in the Austin Opera House.
Oh, God.
Literally a meat locker freezer that wasn't operable anymore, but it still had the cork on the walls, and so that was my home for a while.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I guess someday we'll get a song about that, huh?
Good idea. Yeah, I
Meat
think so.
locker, my meat locker home for a little while. All right. So, why don't you give us another song?
Sure. How about a silly song? I don't know how much time I no. I'll do Country USA because we talked about growing up on a farm.
Oh, yeah, I like that song.
Yeah, this is a song that got second grand prize winner in the Broad Jam DSA contest. And this is yeah, the story about growing up on the farm, and when the bull got loose, my mom would bang on the slide, and would my brother and I would be stacking rocks to try to keep the bull out of our house.
Wait, I got to hear a little bit more about that. What do you mean
Okay.
slamming on the slide?
Okay. So, yeah, the bull would get into the backyard, and then my mom would grab a broom, and she'd start trying to make noise by hitting the slide with the broom to try to scare the bull away. And my brother and I, we were pretty small and brainless, at the time. So our idea was to get bricks and rocks and start stacking them up in front of the back door in case that bull tried to make its way into the house. So that's what this song is about. Mama's swinging a broom by the bullpen. Old bully thought to get in. Me and my brother stacking rocks, building our back door Fort Knox, so that bully don't get in. Up the ladder to the hayloft in the barn. From way up there, the world's a sea of corn. Strip down, grab a bar of soap, under the cistern pull the rope, run back to the house to get warm. Oh God, take me home. I'm surrounded but I feel so alone. Have those times gone away? I have so many things but I dream of a typical day in country USA. Mama's watching them bacon cook. Daddy's reading from the good book. Later we will do our chores, make a beeline for the door, ride our bikes out to the overlook. Oh God, take me home. I'm surrounded but I feel so alone. Have those times gone away? I have so many things but I dream of a typical day in country USA. Beautiful hot summer day on the front porch with a glass of lemonade, riding the tractor with my dad, the best times I ever had. I ever had in country USA. Oh God, take me home. I'm surrounded but I feel so alone. Have those times gone away? I have so many things but I dream of a typical day in country USA. A typical day in country USA.
So you were 8 or 9 when you got your first guitar?
Yeah, I was
Uh,
probably a Sears harmony guitar with strings that are like half an inch off the
I was
fretboard.
just going to ask you what kind of guitar. That Harmony was my first guitar. It's
Oh, was
funny.
it? What a
Yeah.
guess. Um, I
I
think
d
it was for
So
me.
was your dad a rancher or?
No, my dad was a school teacher, and later, when I was a kid growing up, he was a principal of a local elementary school.
Okay.
So
But
I
he
got
had
to
a
try the
bull.
paddle. Huh?
What he had a bull. Was that for did he stud? Was that for studying or whatever? Or
Yeah, they were. It was land that had been inherited, and they had an old farmhouse on it that we lived on, and the land around that house, they just leased it out to other people.
okay, so the bull was somebody else's bull
Yeah,
on the lease land.
yeah, yeah. Later on, they grew their own cattle, but I don't know. They named the cattle, so it's hard to get rid of
You
cattle when
can't
they
eat
have
something
owners.
that you've named, can you?
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a fun time to grow up.
Yeah, it was. It
So
was.
tell me a little bit about your experience down at, because we're talking about you winning your winnings. You were Songwriter of the Year for 2023, and you won some recording time down in Llano, or actually Castile is the actual place on the
Yeah.
beautiful Llano River at
Yes.
River Sound Studios. So what was that like? Did you go down? Did you spend the night in Merlin's cabin?
That was an absolute blast. My brother and I were there together, and so the first night we performed for a showcase that Jerry Alice had put on in Art, Texas, and that was just a lot of fun. And so we spent the night in a cabin there, Merlin's cabin, and then the next day we spent the day recording there at River Sound's studio, and we just had a wonderful time. And Jerry Alice was just a amazing host, so it was great.
How many songs did you record together?
We did 15.
50, that's good. So you just
Yeah,
knocked them out in a day, huh?
yeah. It was kind of like set up and just play through the set. I don't think we hardly stopped at all except to turn the air conditioner on and off.
So you already had your set list. You knew what you were going to do, and y'all had rehearsed a lot before you walked into the studio to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we're putting together a demo tape so that we can send them out and try to get more gigs from that.
yeah. And so this would be a live. So it was more or less like you would sound live, so that you could get so it would be a demo for a live gig.
Right. Except
Yeah.
I got the tracks and I'm loaded them into my Pro Tools system at my home, so I'm enhancing them a little bit. I have to admit that.
So Jerry Alice has Pro Tools.
No, but the software that she has produces WAV files, which is compatible with Pro Tools.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. So, but that's a little tedious there, lining all those wave files up and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I've been through that. I did a musical 21 songs on GarageBand. Just thinking,
Wow.
just doing those demos, just as demos for songs in the musical. Then when we got ready to record, we wanted to have a cast recording, so we were going to do it, in a big studio with a Neve board and stuff like that. And so I had to transfer all of those WAV files from GarageBand into a Pro Tools uh,
Huh.
thing, and that well, I didn't do it. This engineer guy did it, and it was took a lot of time to do it. And at the time, nobody really was doing that with GarageBand because it was early on GarageBand years,
Right.
But it was tedious to go through all those WAV files and get them all lined up and stuff like that. So I feel for
It,
you.
it is. I'm a perfectionist programmer by that's my regular job is a computer programmer. So I love detail and I love tedious. So I'm kind of weird with
That
that.
was just right up your alley then. So are
Right.
you still working or have you retired?
I have not retired.
Mm-mm.
Um, I have I wrote a software program about 20 years ago, and it the software program kind of took off and started getting a lot of users, and so it's been our income for the last 20 years, and I would definitely like to retire pretty soon.
Well, that's great. So what is the software called?
It's called Tenant File, and it's for people that have rental property, and it does their financial accounting so they can keep track of rents and stuff like that.
That sounds wonderful. That's great. So
Yes.
is it based on an Excel file or FileMaker Pro or something like that?
Uh, the early days, it started off in Visual Basic, and then it's kind of evolved from there. So it's a mixture of a lot of things like HTML and
Mhm.
Java and some other languages.
Cool. Well, that's neat that you have your own business too. That also helps to free things up. How did you fall into recording when you had a big studio and you were recording a lot of bands in Austin? How did that happen?
It's an interesting story. To me, we had rented a rehearsal space in the um, the Austin Opera House, and we'd been rehearsing there for like a year. But there was always this big 4x8 sheet of plywood in the back, and so one one day we got adventurous and we pulled that sheet off, and that is where we found that meat locker, which had that I mentioned before, which had 3 rooms in it. So I lived in one room, and the other 2 rooms was became the control room. And so we put a hole in the wall and uh, just built a recording studio right there, and that's how it started. And then I later moved to the uh, Fifth Street to a large studio um, that I kind of put together, once I got there,
Uh-huh. So I
called
guess
Music Lane.
I guess like guitar, you taught yourself to record.
Yeah, I did. I'm a nerd. I love reading instruction manuals and stuff. I always read nonfiction, so I love to just soak up new stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, what you got? You got another song for us?
Yeah, yeah. Um, how many songs should I plan on, do you think?
You could we could squeeze in three more songs if we.
Okay, how about I'll do a silly song.
Yeah.
I know there's some really good jazz performers in the Dallas Songwriters group, but um, Michael was one of them, and I know you play some jazz too.
So yeah.
But this song is kind of my anthem. I like jazz, and I played in a jazz band in college. But there's sometimes I'll go out and see a band that is so boring, and it's nothing but leads on top of leads. And so I wrote this song called "I Hate Jazz." So nobody out there take offense. I don't hate all jazz. It's a jazz song, by the way. I hate jazz, makes me sleepy. Sounds so creepy the way it moves, 1/2 step at a time. I hate jazz, you never know where it's gonna go. There, or there, or there. It drives me out of my mind. And those guitar solos, they never stop. Endless chromatics, just showing off. He thinks he's way cool. Not to be outdone, the sax player does even more runs. Then he grins like he took that guitarist to school. And the bass, he's got a pouty face, wondering aimlessly on a fretboard with no frets in a world of his own. And the pianist, who gives a flip, he plays like he's blitzed, fingers running up and down and all around the ivory keys. They've played every note in the known universe by the first verse, if there is such a thing in jazz. The singer is just stringing a bunch of minus words together. If she forgets a few words here and there, it doesn't matter. She can just scat to fill the void, and no one would ever doobie notice. Little jazz lead, it's so boring. The crowd seems happy, but they're not listening, just pretending to impress their date there. They're smoking cigars and drinking gin, but they hate it. They can't wait to get home for a reefer and beer. I hate jazz. It's all pizzazz and no beat. And when it ends, or so you think, there's always one last blink or a drum roll, and just to drive you over the brink. So instead of going out, I think I'm gonna put on some jazz and fall asleep. That's a fun song.
I remember when you played that in the meeting. I mean, I was just giggling all the way through that thing. It's so funny. I love it.
Thank you.
It's really great. It takes me back to the days when we used to have a club called Strictly Taboo, and they always had a jazz band there, and that was the pickup place to go, you know? So it's, it's really funny.
Well, it's yeah. I have another. I guess I'll probably end with another silly song that I just wrote. I don't think you've heard it yet, but it's I'll play that for you too.
Another silly song. Okay, so
Silly.
I you I haven't noticed that you have co-written much with anybody. Do you co-write at all? You maybe with your brother some or
No.
no?
I write all by myself, and I prefer to write late at night when it's just totally quiet. And sometimes I just write in my head when I'm just kind of lying in the bed half asleep. As I know that co-writing would help me, and I would be totally open to it. I just haven't, had that opportunity. I've heard that with the Dallas Songwriters Group, some of the members there co-write, and the stuff they come up with is amazing. So hopefully I can write with them.
Yeah, there's a few co-writers in our group that like to write together, but a lot of people that like I'm not sure, but I don't think Harry is a co-writer. There's a lot of us that are not co-writers. I co-write, but I also write by myself. I'll take it any way that you can get it. Just I love it. But sometimes it can be difficult to co-write. If so it just depends. It's like co-writing is like dating almost. You have to get to know the person that you're co-writing with, and you don't want to step on any toes, so you can't
Right.
tell them that that's full of shit. Now, there's Richard Tyson I used to write with, and we would just flat out tell each other, "Oh, that's full of shit. That's not going to work," and because we knew each other so well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that to somebody else that I was co-writing with. So it
Yeah.
just depends on who you're writing with. So,
Yeah, you got to have
but
that kind of relationship where it's understood that y'all are just like, push pull, you know.
So, what do you do when you so like you say you like to just write sometimes not you're not even in your little studio or you're just writing in your head somewhere else. Mm. So so that's just happening and you don't have any set time that you write or anything like that.
No, I don't at all. And I
Mhm.
just turn on a light because I realized it got really dark in here. um,
I think we were okay to see it, but that's better.
is that too
That's
bright? I can cut that off.
no, no, that's
Okay.
better. Now I can see all the stuff on the wall back there. You've got several guitars, the kinds of guitars, and so you
Yeah.
play the violin.
No, I don't. I inherited that from my dad,
Oh,
and
your dad played the violin.
actually, he played it enough to where it was kind of painful when he was playing it. He was, all the scratchy notes. And I thought it was like maybe a valuable violin. So like about a year ago, I took it to this violin place and had it appraised. And the guy goes, "No, it's a fake Stradivarius, and it's not worth anything. But I'll tell you something interesting about it. I looked in the F hole of the violin, and there was a big rattlesnake rattle inside that violin. I never knew that.
Well, was that your dad's prize rattlesnake rattle? Did he kill a snake on the property or
I,
something?
he told us stories, yeah, about in Kerrville throwing a rock and hitting a rattlesnake uh, about 30 feet away with the big rock. So,
Mm,
but he never told us he got it or got the rattle. So
yeah.
that's a family secret that's probably never gonna be found out.
So did y'all have you been to Kerrville? Do you go to the Kerrville Folk Festival a lot or um
We used to go camp out and pitch a tent there, but we're a little bit jaded nowadays to do that. But
mhm,
I want to go back. I haven't been there in a while.
yeah. I went one time and it was I loved it, but nobody that I'm with ever likes to go camp out. So but we took a van down there. This is my deceased husband. And so we took a van down there and it rained really hard. It was so funny. And there had a bunch of people and we were all kind of circled around and then we had this tent set up this for us to all, gather in. And so it got so heavy with water. Don says, "We got to get out of here and we got to get back in the van. This thing is about to collapse." So we left and slid into the van and we were looking over there at the all the people standing underneath the tarp and it just collapsed. And
Uh,
it was like but it can be Kerrville can be hot. It can be rainy, the creek can come up and wash your tent away. You never
yeah.
know what's going to happen down
I
there.
wonder if that was the same time because we were there one time when it just had a terrible thunderstorm. Maybe it happens a lot. I don't know.
It probably does. That's the hill country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you go to Swarfa?
No, I've never been there.
No,
Mm-mm.
because it's always in Austin,
Really?
and that's the Southwest Regional Folk Alliance.
I was going to ask you what that stood what that stood for. I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah. Okay. So, have you heard of the Folk Alliance?
Yeah.
So they have a Southwest Regional, in Dallas, who took over the Kerrville from Bob Kennedy. Was
Rod
it Bob
Rod
Kennedy?
Kennedy.
Rod Kennedy.
Right. Yeah.
She's now doing or organizing SWORFA. She has been for a number of years. And so they usually do that in a hotel and they do it like a mini folk alliance where they have a lot of showcases and stuff like that. And it's full of acoustic players and songwriters and stuff. It's kind of neat.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I have to
Yeah.
check it out.
So you have a final song ready for us, right? You got something you want to close the program with?
Yeah. Yeah. Another silly song called Bass Ackwards Tonight.
All righty. Good.
I'm not much of a drinker, but this is about drinking. It's a drinking song. Drink tender, pour me another bar. Here's the keys to my car. This world's got me in a funk, but I'm not as think as you drunk. Put another juke on the songbox. Line me up a row of shots. I might be wording my slurs, but use to here and yours. I might be a little bipsy, but I'm feeling alright. My tank's tangled and I might be a little bass Ackwards tonight. Drink tender, pour me another, and I'll rub you like a lover. I just friend a need to talk to, so take a bar on the seat stool. I might be a little bipsy, but I'm feeling alright. My tank's tangled and I might be a little bass Ackwards tonight. Things may never get better. Ask me if I really care. I'd be happy here forever. So cuck it all, I don't fare. I might be a little bipsy, but I'm feeling alright. My tank's tangled and I might be a little bass Ackwards tonight. So pour me a wigger of Jiskey, a tot of Shaquila, a bug of Mir. I ain't going nowhere. A shoot of Flampagne, a mug of June shine, and a mender of Blargaritas, and I'll be fine. 'Cause I'm a little bass Ackwards tonight. One more time. I'm IT a little bipsy, but I'm feeling alright. My tank's tangled and I might be a little bass Ackwards tonight. My tank's tangled and I might be a middle ass Ackwards tonight. Woo-hoo.
All right. You know what? Song would be a disaster for me to sing. It's such a tongue twister. I'd say all the wrong words and get thrown out of the place.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
when you get to a certain word or phrase, you got to think it backwards and say it backwards. So it is confusing to try to sing that.
That's a tough one. That's really cute, though. It
Thank
really
you
is.
so much. Thank you, and thank you so much. This has been a blast for me. So, Barb, I really appreciate it. And Harry too.
Well, thank you so much, Wayne Gathright, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on the spotlight for Dallas songwriters. I'd like to also thank Harry Hewlett for his behind the scenes brains and technical expertise. There he is.
Yay.
Hey, Harry. So, in closing, everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Dallas Songwriter Spotlight with guest songwriter extraordinaire Wayne Gathright. I'm Barbara McMillen, and good night all from Dallas, Texas and Austin, Texas.